Welcome everybody to our business meeting this evening. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. It's 7:07 p.m. We are convened as the Provo City School District Board of Education. We're meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah, and we'll begin our business meeting tonight with a roll call. We'll start with Devin, if that's okay.
Devin Daly, Business Administrator.
Lisa Boyce, Board Member.
Mary McCabe, Board Member.
Jennifer Partridge, Board Vice President.
Rebecca Nielsen, Board President.
Wendy Dow, Superintendent.
Meg Van Wagenen, Board Member.
Gina Hales, Board Member.
Melanie Hall, Board Member.
Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who's here with us this evening. Is there a motion to begin our business meeting?
I move we begin our business meeting.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Hales. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Partridge. We're now in our business meeting. We are going to start tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to have Caleb Price, our Director of Communications, lead us.
Please rise and join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Okay. We are going to go ahead and move on to our Community Connection section of our meeting tonight, which includes public input. Before we do that, I just have a couple of quick reminders that I'd like to state. And by the way, if you are here to give public input, just also one extra reminder, you'll need to fill out a form here if you want to speak to the board tonight, and give that to Bonnie Totkus, our secretary, who will pass it on to us so we can have you speak. We're so grateful for those who show up to our board meetings to give input to the board. We value your input, and we're happy as a board to have your help in the decisions we make. So thank you so much for being here to speak with us. Tonight, this time will be to give input to the board, but we don't use this as a question and answer session, so we won't be responding to any questions you may have. However, we do respond via email within a couple days to questions you may have or to acknowledge your input, so please watch for that if you have any specific questions you need answered. When you come to the microphone, you'll have 3 minutes to give input to the board, and we ask that you please state your name and the elementary school boundary within which you reside here in Provo. If you happen to be here with a group tonight, we do encourage you to choose one spokesperson who can speak for your group rather than repeating the same points over and over. If you do choose to have a spokesperson come up, you can have that spokesperson speak for 5 minutes instead of 3. And last, we just want to remind everyone that our board is members of USBA, and USBA has adopted the Dignity Index. And the Dignity Index operates on the belief that every person has worth and should be treated with dignity. And we hope that that dignity that is reflected in everyone's speech as you give input to the board, and we commit to returning that to you as well, speaking to you with dignity as well. So please remember that as you speak to the board this evening, and with that, we'll go ahead and hear from the public. So thank you so much for being here. We'll start tonight with Laura Levitt.
I just wanted to thank you for being willing to host the Pride Night. I have.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you state your name and your elementary boundary for me? No, you're okay. Go ahead.
Wait, my name and what?
And the elementary boundary within which you reside here in Provo.
I live in Provo Peaks, but my children attend Wasatch.
Perfect, thank you.
I grew up, my older brother is gay. I was thinking about this. He was bullied all through school for being gay. He was doing all the things that were right. He wasn't out of the closet. And I was actually remembering that I myself was also bullied because of him being gay. And I feel like this would have been such a boon to him. It would have been such a strength and a support. I took my children to the event last year. I found it really wholesome and inviting and really wonderful. And I really can't even imagine what a night like that would have been for myself and my family when I was attending school. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Susan Kruger-Barber.
I live in the Provo Peaks elementary neighborhood. My kids go to Walden, partly because when I first came here, I had a very gender nonconforming child, and felt like that might be a better fit. But I'm so thrilled to have this event, the Provo Pride Night, and I wanted to express support for that too. I have a large family falling under lots of the gender spectrums and neurodiversity spectrums, and I think making places where these children who may appear different can feel celebrated and loved is so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Emmy Kim.
Hi, my name is Emmy Kim. I'm a 6th grade student at Westridge Elementary, and I care a lot about representation and inclusion in everything. There are LGBTQ IA plus kids who feel seen, included, and respected when saying things like the Night for All Families event. I know because I have close friends who are part of the LGBTQIA community, but don't feel comfortable or even safe coming out. My friends as well as me hear a lot of homophobic comments at school, and seeing events like this make my friends very happy. It scares me when a full-grown adult in charge of state education, like Natalie Klein, targets students who don't think or look like her. I was very upset when I heard about her post that bullied a senior high school girl for looking, and I quote, boyish and or trans. I was very upset by this because Natalie Klein had no business posting that picture of her, and there's nothing wrong with being transgender. Even if the girl that Natalie bullied was trans, she had no right to bully her like that, especially online. And finding out that yet again Natalie has posted more homophobic content about the Night for All Families event makes me very upset, knowing that she, again, as a full-grown adult on a state education level, was just able to get away with this. Seeing adults bully kids scares me, so we need other adults to stand up for things like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmy. Dory, Dory Kim.
Hello, my name is Dory Kim. I live in the Westridge boundaries. Emmy is my daughter, so I have 2 other children in the public school system besides her. I was a former educator here in the district, and I'm a current advocate for equitable schools in Utah and a member of the LDS faith. I am aware that there are those who use their religion to exclude and bully, but it is because of my faith that I am here tonight to voice my support for this event and for LGBTQIA+ students. It is because I'm a mother that I want all children, not just my own, to know that they are supported. It is because I too have experienced being other that I don't want LGBTQIA+ students or any other marginalized students to feel the same way. I want them to know that they belong. Brené Brown said of belonging, "A deep sense of love and belonging is an irreducible need of all people. We are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to love, to be loved, and to belong. When those needs are not met, we don't function as we are meant to. We break, we fall apart, we numb, we ache." According to a 2022 report by the Trevor Project, it said that research consistently finds that LGBTQ youth who live in accepting communities and feel a high social support from the family and friends report significantly lower rates of attempting suicide. In that same report, it showed that in the year before that, 50% of the students that were LGBTQ, identified as LGBTQIA+, had seriously considered suicide. It is so crucial that spaces of belonging and safety are created for students, especially for our marginalized students who already struggle to feel like they do. Thank you to the advisory committee for creating such a space. I look forward to attending this with my family, and I hope and trust that the district will prove that hate and divisiveness will not win, but that you will continue to ensure that all students belong because they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dory. Heather Scabelund.
Hi, my name is Heather Scabland, and I'm a Provo resident and parent of a 5th grader at Timpanogos Elementary, although we do live in the Franklin neighborhood. I spoke a few months ago about a related topic, but wanted to be here again to voice my support for the upcoming A Night for All Families. We have attended this event the past 2 years, and it has made a positive impact on our whole family. On the park strip outside our home, we have a community rainbow bench. It was recently tagged with homophobic slurs. We also have had 2 pride flags stolen or damaged in the last few years. Events like A Night for All Families are a salve for incidents like this. My child expressed feeling, quote, seen and celebrated after we attended last year's event. I will repeat what I said in my last public comment. While our schools shouldn't be a place to push a particular political ideology, being gay or non-binary or trans is not a political campaign. It is simply existing. Recognizing that and creating spaces to celebrate the diversity in our student body and within our families is powerful, important, and essential. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Heather. Kirsten Nielsen.
My name is Kirsten Nielsen, and I live in the Rock Canyon Elementary School boundaries. I have 4 children in schools here in Provo. They are in all levels from preschool to the high school, all in the public schools, and I'm here to speak in favor of the upcoming Night for All Families. This is a joyful and inclusive event that is meant to meet specific needs of specific students, but is open for everyone to participate in. It is planned and organized by parents with children in the school district. From what I understand, no district employees are being paid to attend or organize, no education funds are being used for it, and it's being held outside of school hours. And from talking to my children, it has not been promoted or advertised in schools either. No one is being forced to go, so if there are people in the district who are not in support of family togetherness and wholesome recreation, they do not need to attend. Furthermore, I am against outside agitators coming into our city and our school district and trying to tell us what we can and can't do. But most importantly, these students that this event is meant for are just as important and necessary and beautiful as any other children in the district. Communities thrive when all of its members are allowed to flourish and reach their full potential. By validating the lives and experiences of LGBTQ students in our district, this Night for All Families will benefit everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. That will conclude our public input for this evening. Thank you so much to those who have attended and given input to the board. Just kidding. Nope.
There are more.
There are more? Oh, I am so sorry. There are more. I apologize. They were hiding underneath my paper. That will not conclude our public input because I have 3 more forms. So I'm so sorry to scare some of you. Okay, this looks like Eric Bybee.
Hello, thank you for having us and for hearing from us this evening. My name is Dr. Eric Rees-Bybee. I live in the Rock Canyon boundary, but I have 2 kids that actually attend Timpanogos Elementary. This is actually my 18th year as an educator. I've experience as a middle school public school teacher, and for the past several years as a teacher educator and associate professor. And I just want to express my gratitude to the board for allowing a space for parents to get together who care about particular groups in our district to be able to plan events like the Night for All Families. I feel like we're in a moment where oftentimes the loudest voice is the one that gets a lot of airtime, and that's not necessarily representative of how families feel about the kind of communities that they want their kids to grow up in. I attended this, I'm not an LGBTQ individual, but I attended this event last year with my family because it's important for me to be in a community where all people belong, right? And because I've seen the ways in my personal and also in my professional life of how this has a ripple effect of creating belonging much, beyond, particular groups, beyond just the LGBTQ group. Recently, if you paid attention to the news, you've seen that we actually have 2 entire districts in the state of Utah that are under federal civil rights investigations because they didn't attend to these issues, right? I'm speaking, of course, about Davis School District and Park City, where they're struggling with issues regarding racism, racial harassment, gender-based discrimination, as well as anti-Semitism, right? So it's not just one thing, right, that we have to address in schools. And based on my experience working with at least one of these districts and speaking with students in the district, it is actually exactly events like this that students ask for. When you ask them, like, if you're a black student, what would create a sense of belonging for you? This is the type of event that they talk about, right? Where parents and educators, where people come together and they can see that there is meaningful belonging that exists for them. So I commend our board, I commend our superintendent for the great email explaining the role of these events and as one of many ways for parents to get involved in the district. And I'll just say, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. We'll now hear from Cree Jones.
Hi, my name is Cree Jones. We live in the Rock Canyon school boundary, but our kids also attend Timpanogos Elementary. And I've attended this meeting a few times now, and each time I come, I'm just so grateful to all of you that you do this on a regular basis. So thank you for your service to our community. I also used to work as a middle school math teacher in the South Jordan School District. And so I know what it's like to be in a classroom. And I just wanted to echo the comments that have been made that I think this Night for All Families is a great event for our district to help students in our community feel seen like they belong. We personally know and love families and kids that I know are edified by this event, so I just would encourage you to continue to allow this event to continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cree. Dane Thorley.
Caboose. I'll make this short. Just also wanted to thank you for making space for Night for All Families. I know these sorts of things are complicated. Lots of people care about them on both sides, and I'm just very impressed on how this is handled. I particularly thought that Superintendent Dow's email was particularly well put. I work with LGBTQ students at a local university, and I know from conversations with them that these sorts of events are important and make them feel included and part of the community. And so again, I'm grateful that we're able to support those sorts of things here.
Thank you so much, Dane. Okay, I've double checked and I think I have no more forms. So we will go ahead and conclude our public input portion for the evening. We have 2 items from our study session that we did not get to discuss. So we've gone ahead and moved those items to the business meeting. So we will have a discussion. We'll have 2 discussions before we move to our business items for voting. So if you'll go back with me to item number 8 on our second study session, we'll now have a discussion on a boundary study. You want to start that, Wendy?
Sure.
Okay.
So there's 3 separate issues that the board has that we've addressed and want to have a larger discussion as to whether or not we should take action on these 3 areas. So the first is we have some homes on Heather Lane where the students are attending different schools and we have different records of different boundaries in that particular area, and we have a need to clear that up so that there isn't confusion about which schools those students would attend. The second area is with the Osprey, correct, Terry? I said that right? Okay, Osprey.
My brother will be very happy.
Okay, good. See, I do learn, so good job.
Pathologist. So.
Okay, perfect. The Osprey Park area, there is new development that is taking place there, and we have established what our boundaries are, but it goes right through that development, And the developer themselves has actually identified a different elementary school. So we need to solidify where, if we want to decide where that boundary is going to go and what our procedure is for that is also another step in this process. The third piece of this is to really examine if we need to have a larger discussion as a district about all of our schools' boundaries, simply because we have not addressed boundaries since 2006 as a district-wide effort. And really trying to look at maximizing our resources, protecting neighborhood schools. What we need to identify what those priorities are, and make sure that we are being very responsible and transparent with the public about how we're utilizing those resources. So there's very specific legislation that governs how we handle boundary studies and boundary discussions. And so before we could move any further, we would need a motion from the board on each of these things separately to even start the process of bringing in information as to what the impact would be. We have to hold public hearings and publish those and be very explicit about what that process looks like and make sure that the communication is very clear. And we also want to be really careful and mindful about the impact, obviously, that this has even on those two developments on Heather Lane as well as Osprey Park. We also need to decide if you do decide on a motion to look at a larger boundary study, then we need to look at the potential for hiring possibly an outside agency to assist us with that, so we have a neutral body that's going to help us gather some information with respect to that, or if that is something that we want to do internally. So with that, I'll just open it up to questions and discussion.
Okay, we started this discussion at our last board meeting, so I think we've discussed a little bit, but are there any further comments or questions from board members?
Yeah, has anyone been in contact with the developer to let them know we're doing this?
I have not.
Then they probably should tell him.
Well, that's a great thing after we vote that we're going to move forward in the process, right?
Yeah, because what they're telling people and what we're telling people might be opposite, so.
Correct. And I think once we decide what we're going to do, then that would be one of our very first steps, right, is to start laying out what that communication looks like.
One other thing is the law is specific about how to start a boundary study and how to stop a boundary study, but with a whole district study, this will probably take a lot of time. We probably need to have regular updates, so that will probably need to be put into our schedule.
Good.
Which I don't know what the regular updates mean.
We could do it almost like construction updates, where we either decide to do it, you know, we could start with once a month, which is kind of where we started with construction updates, and then as things have gotten more, we've just added it to every board meeting as a standard item. So we could certainly do that and build that into the agenda. But yes, you're absolutely right. And the larger boundary study in our mind would take quite a bit of next year. Yeah, that's not it. Yeah, it's about a year. Yeah.
I feel like the consultant too that we decide to hire can probably let us know when it's appropriate to have updates and whatnot, because I don't know that they would have new information every month, but depending on how they study things, or
I don't know.
I agree, we need to have updates, sure.
Remind me, I know we talked about this. So do we still need to decide if we're going to do the whole study, or are we going to just do the Osprey and the Heather study? That's part of this discussion, right? That's the question.
Yes. So if you're going to do the Heather Lane and the Osprey Park, you want to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to do that in time. You probably want to have like a little bit of leeway, right? So that we're not shocking families before the start of school,
right.
And what that looks like. But the problem that's happening right now is transportation doesn't know which boundary to use, and so they're getting our families are getting conflicting information, and if they choose this school, then they get busing, but if they choose this school, they don't, and that seems inequitable.
Can we do that? Can we just do those two pieces quickly and then
Yes.
get on with like a larger study?
Yes.
So that's why we have 3 options listed here, and if we approve each of them, then that means we are moving forward on Heather Lane is its own thing now.
That's right.
Osprey is its own thing now, because we want to clarify and not have them wait the whole year, or it could be even longer on a boundary study, right?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So I think that's where we were seeming to go last time, is that we wanted to move forward on those 2 quickly to clarify.
While
And
still
then
knowing we
take
need
the
to do a
appropriate
larger
time for a full boundary study that could adjust those, it may not. But that would be in the future.
Lisa, did you have comments?
Well, I guess one thing that I just think, I like the idea of doing the Heather Lane and Osprey, you know, separately, quickly. I think clarity is always kindness, so being really clear what those boundaries are is a good idea for everyone's sake. But as we look at that district boundary study over the next year, I would love to put that together with a study on kind of the costs of different programs that we run and the efficiency of those programs, so that at the end of that we can use all of that information to be strategic about our facilities.
Can that be included in a boundary study? Will they do that and take that into their scope of study as well? Okay.
It's whatever we decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just knowing that that might add more time to the process.
Or possible
but we will
cost
be
too, right?
thorough, right?
Yeah. Help me.
agree.
I'm curious about like how this fits into our budget, right? If we are now hiring somebody else, we'll need to put this in our upcoming budget, right?
Yep, we will put it in the upcoming budget.
Okay.
But it does have a lot of budget implications, so I believe that it is an important item to add in.
I was going to mention that because we haven't done this since 2006, I think it's time, and we have reevaluate all the programs that we have in our district.
Correct.
Have to hire someone to do the Heather Lane or Osprey part though, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll vote on those 3 items in our business portion. Does anybody else have anything they feel like needs to be stated ahead of time? Okay, great. On to item number 9 from our study session, the school land trust plans and school improvement plans.
I'll just hurry and do this for the sake of time. Is that okay, Jared and Daryl? Okay. So we have uploaded every single school improvement plan for all of our schools. In this school improvement plan is also how these schools are spending their TSSA money, and their land trust plans are also embedded in that. They do upload their trust lands plan onto the separate trust lands website. You have all read various ones of these, and district leadership has read through all of these. So this will be a formal approval of these particular plans. And then our goal is to make sure that these are really truly documents that really inform our leaders as we continue through our improvement process as a district.
Okay, any questions or comments on the school improvement plans or the land trust plans? Gina?
Are those separate? Like we're going to vote on school improvement plans and then land trust
You're
plans?
technically just voting on the school trust lands plans. That's the only thing in code that is required for you to approve, but I wanted you to have eyes on the entire plan and how even Title I funds might be operating in there, so you have the whole picture of it.
Thanks.
Thank you for asking about that clarification.
Melanie? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you for doing this. I thought this was very insightful, and I think it's helpful for the board to see where the money's being spent and how it's being spent in both directions, from both, the TSSA money and also lands trust. So I appreciate you doing this.
Jared wanted me to remind you that this also includes the approval of Franklin's plan, which is in particular a CSI plan.
Okay, Bonnie, were you raising your hand?
I'm just wondering about motion language. Do you want me to change it? Do I need to add something for Franklin? Can I add something for Franklin at this point?
For Franklin?
Yeah.
Sure, CSI plan.
She just said that the CSI plan was part of this.
We might just need to put it in as a separate agenda item for next time.
For next time.
Okay. Jennifer?
I just wanted to share first of all, I agree. I love this process and how you streamline things for our schools, for our principals, and the clarity that has come with that. As I was reading through some of it, I have to say, my initial reaction was some of these plans are not bold enough. Like, their achievement scores, like they're only going for like 3%. Like, where's the vision in that, right? I'm the kind of person like reach for the moon and just shoot for it, and if you don't quite get there, oh well. But I wanted to share that I did speak to one of the principals at one of the schools I represent. That was one of those numbers. I was like, why is it not very big? And she explained to me the process that they went through, where they identified very specifically by not only grade level but actual students that who haven't shown the achievement, the proficiency, I should say, yet, and how can we get which students there? Like, who is even close enough that we could get there? And let's create plans for these specific students. And of course, we're working on growth for all of our other students and trying to get them to that proficiency, but what is even realistic? And I really appreciated to learn that there was a lot of thought put into each of these plans, and that we talked about as they can move the needle with that 3% this year, then that will open up opportunities to have bigger and bigger numbers every year after that. So if anyone else looked at the plan and thought the same I did, that's why, and I understand it a lot better now, and just wanted to share that with everybody. And again, I'm grateful for the thought that's gone into it, and the intention that will come from it in their actions to live out that plan.
Lisa, go ahead.
I guess I'm wondering, are these plans then going to be available on each school's website so that parents and even teachers can easily access those or readily go there and see what they are?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we've already talked about as our year-end data come in, that they may be altering some different things because we want it to be a living document. And so yes, it has to be very transparent in that way. So that is the goal.
Okay, well, I'll just end with saying I too am really loving the consolidated form that includes all of the improvement plans in one place. It was really awesome to read those all together. So thank you for the effort on that, and to all the schools for putting all the time and effort into these plans. I know these were probably really time consuming and with a lot of research and diving into data. So I'm excited for these. I'm excited to see the results. So this will be great. Thank you. We will also vote on these later in our business portion. Any further comments or questions on that? Okay, great. Well, then let's go ahead and move down to our business items. We'll start with item number 1, a consideration to approve the school land trust and school improvement plans. We just discussed those, so I don't feel like we need a summary. So we will go ahead and I'll just entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the school land trust and school improvement plans as discussed in study session.
Okay, thank you so much. Motion.
Business meeting.
/ business meeting.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Hales. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Boyce. Any further comments? Starting with Board Member Hales, if there's any.
I just want to echo what everybody else has said. Not being in public education my whole career, I've always, heard those district employees don't do anything. Well, they're doing stuff now. I don't know. There's all kinds of things happening. I'm grateful to Superintendent Dow and her team. There's a lot of work happening here. There's a lot of people working more than 40 hours a week and getting up early and staying up late. This is one of those pieces, but it's only one of the many pieces that are going into play. So thank you to everybody who's been working so hard.
Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed with nay? That motion passes unanimously. Business item number 2, consideration to approve policy regarding time and effort. And Devin, if you'll give us a quick summary, please.
Yep, this policy is just a basic operating policy that's required by the state to make sure that we have documentation of how we're following federal guidelines and payroll certifications, and making sure that federal funds are spent correctly, and the state restricted funds that are also required.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve policy 6020 60-22 time and effort.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Partridge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any further comments, starting with Board Member Partridge, if there's any?
I don't have any.
Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? That motion passes unanimously. Business item number 3, consideration to approve policy regarding fixed asset. Devin, if you can give us a summary on that as well.
So this is just to bring our capitalization thresholds in line with new federal guidelines, which the state is also adopting. So equipment will be $10,000 as a single item, and construction projects would be $100,000 as a single item.
Great, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve policy 6120, fixed asset capitalization policy.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Hall. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Was that you, Lisa?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Second by Board Member Boyce. Any further comments, starting with Board Member Hall, if there's any?
She waves.
She waves? Okay, great. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? That motion passes unanimously. Business item number 4, consideration to approve a boundary study for Heather Lane. And Wendy, if you want to maybe just give us a quick summary.
Sorry.
Well, we just talked about it. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
did.
if we need one,
So
but
do we, yes, Heather Lane has a conflicting boundary and we need to solve it.
great. Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the boundary study for Heather Lane.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen, and a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hales. Any further comments, starting with Board Member Van Wagenen, if there are any?
No? I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Does that language encompass, like, is that sufficient to start the process so that we're starting the timeline with everything we need to do to actually finalize the boundary, or would we have to vote again to say we want to make the boundary this certain thing and then start the timeline?
No, you're just making a motion that you want to investigate this, and it starts that process of, then we start with all of the notifications and the hearings, and then we have to notify of when the vote is going to be, which homes are going to be impacted. So this starts that this starts the clock ticking for that process.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Great, that motion passes unanimously as well. Business item number 5, consideration to approve the Osprey Towns Park Boundary Study.
This is a new development in Osprey Park, and so we need to look at where we want the boundary to be. We have some conflicting information between the developer and between the district, but the current boundary is going right through that particular development. So we need to examine this so that our families know which school their children will attend.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the Osprey Towns Park Boundary Study.
Thank you so much. Motion made by Board Member Boyce. A second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Partridge. Any further comments, starting with your name always kills me.
I love it.
With Board Member Boyce, if there's any.
Boyd member Boyd, no comment. I wave.
You wave. Anyone else? Okay, great. We'll go ahead and vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Okay, that motion passes unanimously as well. Last one, item number 6 on our business items, a consideration to approve a district-wide boundary study. One more summary, Wendy?
Yes, so this one is to examine a much broader scope of looking at the boundaries of all of our schools across the district, since that hasn't been done since 2006, and possibly looking at hiring an outside entity to do so and really examine our programs and the efficiency of our and use of our resources.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve a district-wide boundary study.
Motion made by Board Member Partridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Was that you, Melanie?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I know.
Second by Board Member Hall. Any further comments or discussions, starting with Board Member Partridge, if there are any?
I don't have any.
Gina?
It's long overdue. That's all I have to say.
It is, and I'm grateful we're starting this process. This will be good. Thank you. We'll take a vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. That is all we have tonight. So is there a motion to adjourn our business meeting?
I move we adjourn our business meeting.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that.